aspiring pattern makers and my future fashion designers. If you are designing a garment and you want to apply pockets to that garment, there are various types of pockets to choose from. There is one particular pocket that you can choose to incorporate, and that is the patch pocket. But guess what? If you don't want to use the regular patch pocket, you can use that same patch pocket pattern to incorporate a different type of pocket, and not just one type of pocket. You can actually turn that into two different types of pockets. The first type of pocket is the inverted pocket, and then there's also the box pleated pocket. Now, you might say to yourself, how is that possible? Yes, it is. I'm going to show you how to create that patch pocket, and I'm also going to show you how to create the flap for that patch pocket. And then I'm going to get into the other two types of pockets that you can create using that pattern for the one patch pocket. So let's get started. You can choose your desired size for your pocket, but I'm going to start out with a pocket that is going to be a 6 by 7 inches, meaning that it's going to be 6 inches wide across and 7 inches in height. I'm going to first show you how to make the pattern for that patch pocket. So we're going to start out with a 6-inch by a 7-inch pocket. This is simply a rectangle, and with this rectangle it's going 6 inches across and it is going 7 inches down. So the next thing that you're going to do is that you're going to add your seam allowances to this patch pocket. For the seam allowances for this, you don't need to do a 1/2 inch. You can do a 1/4 inch, or you can do 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to choose to do 3/8 of an inch. So we have to plan for the fold back on the top of the pocket. So we can do a 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch because you're going to do a double fold, or you can do 3/4 and 3/4. Is up to you. So for now, I'm going to do a 1/2 inch and another 1/2 inch up. So it's going to create that double folded piece underneath. This is what the pattern of the patch pocket will look like. You notch here and notch here also. I usually do a notch on the side, and I'll label that as the left or the right. So I could label that as my right here, and this would be my left. And what I usually do, I place my notch in different areas. I don't put it exactly across from the right side. So the reason you're doing this is when you are actually attaching the pocket onto the outfit, you know which is the right and which is the left. There are optional ways of having your patch pocket. You can have it where it is square at the bottom, or you can have it where it is curved. If you want the curve, you can use your French curve here, and you just simply curve it out, and this is what it would look like. So you find the tip of the French curve here, and you curve it out, and you do the same for here. You curve this part out. You can create that curve also on this side. This is what a patch pocket looks like. So this is the left side. Let's create the pattern for the flap. And with the flap, it comes over the patch pocket, and usually we make the flap 1/8 of an inch wider than the actual pocket. And the reason why we do that is because if it's a flap, you want a little tiny bit to cover that area. So it's actually 1/16 and 1/16 on either side, and that is fine. Try not to give it a 1/4 inch, because no, that is too much, because then you have 1/8 on one side and 1/8 on the other. You just need a little bit of coverage for the flap to cover the pocket. So for the flap, we're going to do 6 and 1/8 wide, because I already did 6 inches up there, so I need 6 and 1/8. I'm going to go to my 1/8, which is right here, and you're going to go down 2.5 inches, and also 2.5 inches on the other side, and then you are going to connect that. So remember, now we have the flap here. This is going to be our pocket flap, and it is going to be finished 6 1/8 by 2.5 inch. That's going to be a finish. So the finished product is going to be 6 1/8 by 2.5. So let's add seam allowances to this. You can do 1/4 of an inch all around, and that is fine. This is the traditional patch pocket with its flap. Since we don't want to be regular and we want to be different, you can now use this pattern and create a box pleated pattern or an inverted pleated pattern. Let's get into making the pattern for the box pleated pocket or the inverted pleated pocket. So you need to plan accordingly. You can have the pleat width either 1.5 inches or 2 inches. It's up to you with the type of depth that you want. I usually go for 2 inches because I just think that it's better, but if you want to go for 1.5 inches, that's fine. Alright, so we have to plan accordingly now. If we have 6 inches across, it is the width that is going to change to create the pattern for that. The height of the pocket is not going to change. So we can start off with our 7 inches high. But since I need a 2-inch depth there, I need to create 2 times that 2 inches. So that's going to be 4. So I need to create this by 10 inches going across. Alright. Now what you notice right at the half point mark, which is the 3 inches, and I'm going to mark off my 3 inches here, and I'm going to mark off the other 2 inches so I can do this. And now I just need another 3 inches here. You want to double check that. Yep. And I have my 3 inches here. Now you need your 7 inches down on both sides. And this is your 7 inches down. Alright. And then you are going to connect these. This area right here is going to be your pleated area for your pocket. So for your turn under on the top of the pocket, you can do 1/2 inch or you can do 3/4 of an inch. But just remember, you're going to need double that amount. So 1/2 and 1/2 is going to be 1 inch, and then you have 3/4 and 3/4 is going to be 1.5 inches. I'm going to do 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch now, and you have it like this. Now you will need your 1/4 inch around the edge of the pocket. Have a notch here. Make sure you have your notch over here for your right side, and this would be for your left side on the notch. This is the area that is going to be pleated. You're going to use this one pattern piece, and you're going to create 2 different types of pockets. It is going to use the same type of flap. You don't need to change the flap. All you did was incorporated the pleated area for the pocket. This is what it looks like, the actual pattern piece looks like. This is all about the sewing technique. This is a pattern piece that you'd use to create the inverted pleated pocket or the box pleated pocket. The first one that I'm going to show you to create is the inverted pleated pocket, and this is what it looks like. So once you have the right sides together and you're ready to stitch the fabric, for the bottom part of the pocket, you're going to stitch from the edge for about 1 inch. But for the top part of the fabric that is going to have the turn under piece, you're going to stitch for about 2 inches. And the reason why I said 2 inches is because if 1 inch is a total for your seam allowance there, when you come down on the fabric here, that is going to take you another inch down here, and when you turn up, it's going to be 1/2 inch. So you have room from the top stitching line, 1/2 inch room. If you are using 3/4 of an inch, then I would suggest that you go down 2 1/4 from the top down to create that seam. Now when you're creating the seam, it's going to be a straight stitch. Please use a ruler and a chalk to guide you so that you don't have a crooked line, or when you're sewing it, it's going to be a straight line. If you are not versed on sewing well and keeping the fabric straight, then you want to put a mark using, say, tailor's chalk on the fabric to have that straight line. Because remember now, the right sides are going to be together, and you're going to stitch on top of the wrong side. You're going to see that stitching on the wrong side. When you're about to iron the pocket, you need to place the notch for the centerpiece right here. I would put numbers there. When you're ironing this, you're going to open, it's like this, you're going to open it and you're going to place number 2 right here. This is number 2, because remember now you had it out like this. This is number 2 right here. You're going to place it right where that seam line is. See, place it right where that seam line is. That's where you're going to place number 2, right there. And you will end up noticing that at the back it looks like a box, but at the front you have the inverted pleat looking like this, and this is what it looks like. So this is your inverted pleat. Now what you'll have to do, the next thing that you'll have to do is turn under the edges, right, and stitch along here at the top for your pocket. So you turn under that and you stitch along there. And the next thing that you're going to do is that you are going to iron that 1/4 inch seam allowance that you have all around the edges. Once you iron the 1/4 inch seam allowances, then you are ready to place your pocket onto your garment. When you're ready to place your pocket onto your garment, I would suggest that you use a template, and you should create a template with just the 6x7, no seam allowance, and use that as a template guide. That you will definitely have your notch on your right, and also your notch on your left, and also your center notch here to show where the pocket is halfway distance of the pocket. So this is what your template would look like. You use this and you as a guide for attaching your pocket to your garment. So if you have your garment, you're going to place this down onto the garment, and you are going to trace around the edge, right, of the template. Once you place your template over your garment and you trace around the 3 edges, not the top part going across, you don't need that where the flap is going to be, but you trace the other 3 areas around onto your garment, then that is good. The next thing that you need to do is now place the pocket, and remember this is the inverted pleated pocket. You're going to place it on top of your garment, and you are going to sew around the 3 edges. And don't forget your flap. So in terms of attaching the flap, if you use 1/4 inch as your seam allowance there, you're going to place the top of your flap like this. So you have the pocket here on the garment. You're going to place your flap above, and you're going to leave 1/2 inch space here. The reason why you're leaving 1/2 inch space here is because when you stitch along the flap edge right here and you turn it down, then you still will end up with a 1/4 inch space between the finished edge of the flap, right, and the actual pocket. So you need a little bit of space right there. 1/8 to 1/4 inch is good, but in most cases I prefer a 1/4 inch. So that's it for your inverted pleated pocket. Now let's create the box pleated pocket. For the box pleated pocket is different in terms of how you fold the fabric together. For the box pleated pocket, you need to have the wrong side of the fabric together. So this is what it looks like with the wrong side together. So now that you have the wrong side of the fabric together, and you are going to make number 1 touching number 3, and you're going to stitch again from the bottom, right? You can start from an inch going down to the end, right? Once it's folded, and it looks like that. And for the top, you're going to go down for about 2 inches. So it's going to be a little bit longer than the bottom of the fabric. Now, once you do that, when you are ready to iron it now, so you are going to open number 2, and you are going to place it where the seam is, or where it meets, right here. So you're going to place number 2 right onto that seam line right there, and then you are going to press down. So you will notice now that there's this box that is formed outside, and because the box is being formed outside, that is the reason why it is called a box pleated pocket. You're going to do the same thing where you're going to clean finish the top of the edge of the pocket first, and then you are going to press under 1/4 of an inch around the other 3 edges. So once you have that, and then you already have your template that you're going to use, or your marker, some people call it a marker, you're going to mark that position of where you're going to have that pocket onto that garment, and then use that as a guide to sew your pocket so that you are sewing your pocket properly. Actually, make sure that your notch that you have for the right side is going to be the same for the right, and the notch you have for the left is going to be at the same position. And also number 2 is going to be that center part for your pocket. These notches are needed when you are attaching the pocket onto the garment. Without those, then you can go ahead and do it, but it's a guide. So you need your notches, because your notches are the guide in attaching your pocket onto your garment. And once again, for the flap, you go ahead and you attach your flap, or if you decide not to have a flap. But I think that having a flap for the box pleated pocket and the inverted pleated pocket are necessary, because it gives an extra oomph to the garment. In my opinion, when you have a flap for your box pleated pocket or your inverted pleated pocket, that simply just completes that pocket. But if you have a patch pocket without the flap, it is fine. Yes, when you add the flap to it, it's going to make that garment look much better. But in general, without a flap for these 2 types of pockets, nah, I wouldn't do that. It just completes the garment when you have that flap there. So in conclusion, I hope that this video has helped you tremendously, and now you know how to not just create a patch pocket, but also to create a box pleated pocket or an inverted pleated pocket. It's all about having that extra pleat on that pocket, that regular patch pocket, and now you have a total different type of pocket. It's all about the technique. You determine your width of your pleat, how you want the depth to be, and then you can take it from there. Remember, when you are dealing with the box pleated pocket like this one, you are going to place your stitching line to create that pleat on the right side of the fabric. And with that being said, obviously you're going to have the wrong side of the fabric together. So you have the wrong side together, you're going to fold the fabric where now you will have the edge as number 2, and you will end up with that stitch along number 1 overlapping number 3 to create your pleat. But for the inverted pleated pocket, you are going to place that stitching on the wrong side of the fabric. That is very important. So once you have the stitching on the wrong side of the fabric to create that pleat, obviously you will notice that the right side of the fabric is going to be kissing together, so right side to right side, and you have that line for your stitch line along 1 and 3 when it's together. You don't necessarily need a flap for the regular basic patch pocket. You can have it with a flap or without, it's your choice. When you attach a flap above the box pleated pocket or the inverted pleated pocket, the flap literally enhances the pocket more, and you just see a different look on the design of the garment. It just gives a oof to it. It literally makes that outfit. But without the flap for these two types of pockets, it's not going to break the outfit. So I would say to you, if you want that outfit to break and look nice and spanking, then attach flaps for your box pleated pocket or your inverted pleated pocket. With that being said, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And guess what? Don't keep this to yourself. Share this video with others around the world so they too can know how to create pockets like this and other designs. Thank you for watching, and guess what? Before you go, remember to hit that like button and also to leave a comment. And see you soon on the other side to come. Bye now.